Hello and welcome to the news at 7, where we get to the heart of the day's stories and communities right across Scotland tonight. Ewan Methven tried to cover up the killing for 2 days. Also tonight. And we'll have all the sport here too with Paul Barnes. Paul, what have you got for us? And we'll hear about the state of Scotland's tenement buildings too. Hello, I'm Sarah McMullan. Welcome to the news at 7. Hello there, good evening. A man who killed his girlfriend and dismembered her body at a flat in East Kilbride has been jailed for a minimum of 23 years. Sentencing 27-year-old Ewan Methven at the High Court in Glasgow, the judge, Lord Matthews, said his victim, Phoenix Spencer Horn, had been robbed of all dignity in death and that Methven had betrayed the trust of her family and taken her life in the cruellest way. Katrina Renton's report contains details you may find distressing. Now, a 15-year-old boy and 3 other people have died in separate incidents over the weekend. Temperatures hit 32 degrees in some parts, and while most of us enjoyed a day out in the glorious weather, these events are highlighting the dangers that rivers and lochs can pose as people flock to beauty spots over the summer. David Henderson has this report. OK, well, let's get a roundup of the stories making the BBC News app here in Scotland. 9 people have been charged in connection with various offences in and around the Transmit Music Festival in Glasgow yesterday, but the overall figure was significantly down on last year. Elsewhere, a 65-year-old man has died in a 2-vehicle crash in Argyll and Bute. The accident on the A85 happened at 10:30 on Sunday morning near the village of Lochall. More than 40 firefighters tackled a fire that broke out at a house at Roslin Gardens in Dundee. The alarm was raised just before 5 o'clock this morning. And lastly, police are investigating a second deliberate fire in Tain, the second on the housing estate, in the space of just a week. Well, for much more on all of these stories, you can scan the QR code, which you should be able to see here on the screen for you now, and that'll take you to the BBC Scotland News app, where you'll get much more information. Now, Scotland's First Minister John Swinney and the Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer will meet Donald Trump when the President visits Scotland later this month. Now, the collapse of a Victorian tenement building in Glasgow's south side in the early hours of Saturday morning has brought the safety and security of this vital housing stock back into public focus. The structure in the Pollokshields area had been gutted by a fire during the pandemic, but sat derelict in the years since. But we're joined by the Director of Glasgow City Heritage Trust, Neil Murphy. Hi Neil, thanks for being with us. Why do you think this has been allowed to happen?
So that's the key thing.
OK, Neil Murphy, thank you very much for all of your insight on that tonight. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. Now, it's the Olympic-style competition that brings athletes exclusively from islands all over the world together, and this year it's being held in our very own Orkney. It's thought the Games will attract around 2,000 visitors, inflating the archipelago's population by 10% for the week. 24 island groups will be competing in 12 events, and the News at 7's Laura McKeever is there for it. Now, after a sunny and scorchio weekend of weather, it's business as usual and back to the rain, at least it is in Glasgow. Judith will have a full forecast for you later. But first, it's time for all the sport on the mainland with Paul Barnes.
Looks lovely up in Orkney, doesn't it?
Lovely stuff, and great to see you looking out for your colleague there.
Absolutely.
Making sure, safety first,
Safety
Paul.
first.
Safety first. OK, now as promised, time for the weather forecast. Here's Judith. Now, just before we go tonight, a magic moment for one young Scot on the cusp of mega stardom just now. A big congratulations to Dominic from all of us. And that's all from me tonight. As you heard, Laura McKeever's back tomorrow. Bye-bye.